Romiax back with another video, and without further ado, shall we begin? What if Naruto left the leaf? Two things. First of all, Naruto, upon leaving the village, is going to be around 8 years old, about the same time that he would enter the academy. And the second thing, well, that will be known later on. With that being said, we can now fully begin this what if. Walking through the streets of Konoha, Naruto stumbles into a man. He appeared to be in his early 30s. It was here that Naruto would stumble, apologizing and continuing to walk forward. The man would turn around, looking at an 8-year-old Naruto, as he would grab a coin from his pocket, throwing it at the back of Naruto's head. Naruto saw it as nothing, continuing to walk. The man, realizing that Naruto paid no attention to him throwing a coin, would instead opt for something bigger, so to speak. Looking down to the ground, he found a rock, throwing it at the back of Naruto's head, and sending him flying to the ground. It was then that the man would pick up Naruto by the bottom of his coat, as he saw Naruto with tears in his eyes. It was then that he would take Naruto home, tying him up with rope. The man would make dinner for him and only him. There also appeared to be a dog that lived with the man who had his own little meal. With that being said, the man would begin to talk. "You are Naruto Uzumaki, if I'm not mistaken." Naruto would slowly regain consciousness as he would nod, saying, "Yes, my name is Naruto Uzumaki." The man would continue. "Do you know what you did?" "What I did? What do you mean?" "Oh, you're not stupid. I'm sure you get it. What you did to the Leaf Village all those years ago." "I think it's been nearly a decade by this point. 8 years, if my count's correct." "What are you talking about, sir? Now please untie me. I want to go home." "Home? I don't think such creatures deserve home. Homes are for humans, people who are normal. You're not normal, Naruto." "What do you mean I'm not normal?" "Well, for starters, you carry a demon within you. I'm actually convinced that you are a demon. But I suppose the correct terminology for it would be Jinchuriki." "What? What are you even talking about?" "The Nine-Tails beast that ravaged the village 8 years ago lies within you." Naruto would pause. He had heard about a beast that ravaged the village and killed hundreds, but he didn't know that that very beast lied inside of him. To Naruto, it explained why everybody hated him, kept their distance, and even mocked him. Naruto looked up at the man and then back at the ground. "Are you planning to kill me? I'm tied up like a lamb for the slaughter, or maybe a small bunny in your eyes. So, do you plan on killing me, man? Answer." "I don't think you have the authority to make me answer. But if you want to know what I'm going to do to you, I'm going to torture you. The very beast that lies inside of you took away my wife as well as my 3 children. They were honorable men. All of them, Chunin and Jonin. My mother was an exceptional healer. And some of the debris from the attack crushed her windpipe, and she later died. Thanks to you and the demon inside of you. And so you asked me if I plan to kill you. The answer is yes. I will torture you until all you feel is pain. And when you no longer want to exist, that is when I will take your life. Most of the words the man had said, Naruto couldn't really process. So he continued to stare at the ground, nodding off into a deep sleep. Naruto would awake to his arm being burnt. Naruto would immediately grab the wound as it wouldn't cease to burn, even after it got cooler, so to speak. It had seemed that the man had quite literally taken a metal skewer and strike Naruto with it in his arm. With that, Naruto looked at the wound, and as it started to cool, Naruto could only cry. The man left his house. Luckily for Naruto, he had enough strength left to break free of the ropes. He was scared to do it earlier because maybe the man would see him and even stop him. And thus, he would get up, running out of the house and running far, far away. It was there that he would sit in an alleyway as another man would come, throwing tomatoes and orange peels at him. It seemed like he was just throwing all of his compost at a young Naruto. Naruto looked up at the man and would ask him, "What did I do to you?" The man would tell Naruto that he took his only son away from him, and his fiancée at the time. Naruto would shed another tear. "I took away her family? How?" "Well, technically it wasn't you. It was the beast that lives within you. So by tormenting you with these orange peels, maybe the little beast inside of you can repent. Actually, it doesn't even matter. Just get out of here before something bad happens to you." Naruto would get up and run, this time out of the village, never to be seen again. 1 year has now passed. Naruto lives with a fellow Jinchuriki, of all people. This Jinchuriki is Roshi, the Four Tails. Roshi had found Naruto in his travels, as Roshi was a sort of deserter from his village. He had stumbled into Naruto. Sensing that they had some sort of connection, he tutored Naruto and taught him everything he knew about jutsu, chakra, training him, nurturing him, and even teaching him how to survive on his own with things like hunting or even just natural necessities like how to get water and things of that sort. Naruto and Roshi had kind of developed a father and son bond, so to speak. Nobody had yet filled this area of Naruto's life, that being father and son connection, so Naruto clung on to Roshi as if Roshi was his biological father. Even though that wasn't the case, as, well, Minato was Naruto's father. With that being said, Roshi would be taken away from Naruto. Not forcibly, necessarily, but the village hidden in the stone needed Roshi for some odd reason. And so, he went. But it wasn't by choice. He was forced, as they had sent many of their ninja to capture him. Taking him back to their lands, Naruto was in a way abandoned, now harboring vengeance towards both the Leaf Village and Roshi, not knowing that Roshi had been forced to leave. With that, he continued to wander for some time, until 2 months later, he stumbled into Orochimaru. Yet another deserter, this time from the Leaf Village. Upon seeing Naruto, Orochimaru would stare at him. Vibrant blue eyes and stark yellow hair. Is this Minato's son? But why would he be here, of all places, in the middle of nowhere? Orochimaru would outstretch his hand to Naruto. Join me, young boy. Huh? What do you mean, join you? Join what? If you take my hand, I can give you all the power you desire, all the strength you desire, and all the happiness you desire. Riches, fame, power, I can give it all to you. So, do you wish to join me? Naruto thought about it. Fame, money, power, love even. All the things he've wanted since he was a little boy. And thus, he would agree. Sure, I'll take you up on that offer. What's your name? My name is Orochimaru. And you? I'm Haruko. That's my name. Haruko. Well, isn't that an interesting name? Naruto and Orochimaru would shake hands. As Orochimaru would take Naruto back to his home base. Obviously, Naruto had lied about his real name. He thought that if Orochimaru knew who he really was, then Orochimaru would hate him. Like most people who knew his real name. With that being said, Orochimaru would care for Naruto, and would even train him, similarly to how Orochi had. Yet again, the role of a father was filled in Naruto's life. And thus, one day, whilst Orochimaru sat on Naruto's bedside, Naruto would speak up. Hey, Orochimaru. Yes, what is it, Haruka? I have something to tell you. Well, you've piqued my interest. What is it that you wish to tell me, Naruto? Huh. Naruto would look up. What? Your name is Naruto, right? Naruto Uzumaki. You knew? Well, technically that would mark the first time that I've called you Naruto. But if you wish to be called Haruko, even now that you know that I know your real name, then I will continue to call you Haruko. No. I think my parents gave me the name Naruto. So you can just use that. Okay, Naruto. What is it that you need to tell me? I was just gonna tell you that my name is actually Naruto Uzumaki and not Haruko. Oh. I figured. You look awfully similar to a man I once knew. This man was in fact Minato Namikaze. Obviously, they're not friends, but, you know, Orochimaru doesn't forget a face. The next day, Naruto would continue to train as per usual, and Orochimaru would treat him the exact same, as if nothing had happened. Which, nothing really happened, but in Naruto's mind, he thought that something would change. That Orochimaru would maybe even begin to neglect him. Now, why is this kindness happening? Mainly due to the fact that Orochimaru sees Naruto as a future host. Quite literally somebody who carries more chakra than he could even imagine. Naruto makes the perfect vessel. Stacked on top of that, he is an Uzumaki with healing fact before meeting Orochimaru. Since, well, he had been abandoned in a way. So, he really felt happy that Orochimaru took him under his wing. And for that, He was forever grateful to the Sani, or rather, the former Snake Sani. With that being said, we now have a 1-year time skip. 1 year has now passed. Naruto is 10 years old, and with the strength of nearly a Kage, he is well on his way to being one of Orochimaru's greatest vessels, if not his greatest to date. Naruto had overheard a conversation talking about him as a vessel. Naruto wondered what that meant, and at this point, he's smart, calculated, even cunning in a way. Not to mention he is compassionate, kind, caring, loving, but, you know. Naruto, being the tactful boy that he was, would put the pieces together. He had seen Orochimaru quite literally jump into new bodies, and from what he had heard, he must have been the next viable body. Naruto wondered what he would do. Has he been being used this whole time just to be Orochimaru's vessel? Did Orochimaru ever really care about him? These things rushed through his mind. He walked outside of the compound. As he walked into the forest, he sat down and meditated. Collecting his thoughts, he put together a plan. Orochimaru would never take a child's body. In theory, this is what Naruto believed. So, Naruto would work his butt off, so to speak, until he saw himself as stronger than Orochimaru. Obviously, Orochimaru wouldn't expect Naruto to rebel, so to speak. So, it wouldn't work. And thus, this would be Naruto's plan, to gather strength in himself, obviously. And when the time came where Orochimaru would want his body, he would kill Orochimaru and anyone who stood in his way. It was here, whilst collecting these thoughts, that Naruto would fall asleep, waking up in his own subconscious. He looked around in the deep, dark abyss. He looked down at his feet and saw water. As he looked up, a cage. The breath of the Nine-Tails leaked out of the cage, a small, hazy smoke. To what do I owe you this visit, Naruto Uzumaki? Naruto's jaw would drop. I'm what? You're the Nine-Tails. The Nine-Tails Demon Fox, right? Precisely. And you are Naruto Uzumaki. I know all about you. I've been in your body for a decade now. Kurama, or the Nine-Tails, claws would go a little outside of the cage as he would claw at the ground. Do you know how annoying it is watching a 10-year-old boy train every single day? Just to know that his body is going to go to some snake? What do you mean? You're not a fool, and nor am I. You're being trained so that you're strong enough to be one of Orochimaru's vessels. Oh, I didn't know you heard that as well. I hear everything that you hear, Naruto. I see. Well, that's interesting, I guess. Interesting is the fact that you're not doing anything about this situation we're in. You're the only reason I'm here. I ran away from the village because you killed half the population. And that's an overstatement, and you know it. my own hands killed maybe 100 at max. It was the damage I caused that really killed people. And it was nowhere near half of the population. A chunk, sure. But don't hold me to such a degree. You hate me because the villagers hate me. If you can find a reason to hate me that doesn't go with taking innocent lives, then I will accept your hate. But beyond that, you have no reason to hate me. Like I said, I've watched you for 10 years be nothing but a useless failure. You get stronger and never use said strength. You fight random bandits. For what? For what? I just stood there. I'm a useless failure to you. Is that what you think? What about me is so useless? Nine Tails. Kurama would outstretch his hand even further. You're lucky this seal keeps me here, or I would tear your head off. And before doing so, I would tear you limb from limb. You lucky bastard. That's what I thought. I'm not useless, and you know that. If I was so useless, we wouldn't be talking here right now. I realized this a long time ago. Back when what? You were with Roshi? The Four Tails? You didn't let me finish. I realized that. And of all the people in the Leaf Village, they chose me to store this thing in. Not the Hokage, not a random Jonin, and no other boy. Not an Uchiha, not a Hyuga, not a Nakamichi, or even a Nara. All special clans within the Leaf Village. And if they were going to place a beast into somebody, I'd assume it'd be one of them. And Uchiha being the most likely. But they didn't. They chose me, Uzumaki Naruto. Which means I'm special. Not useless. Special. Which means I could do something that they can't. Hold you inside of my body. This looks like a cell, which means that my body is a prison for you. Isn't that right? Kurama would grunt. That's what I thought. Stay down, you beast. Naruto would close his eyes, seeking to wake up, as Kurama would stop him. Wait! Naruto would open his eyes once more, still in his own subconscious. What is it, Fox? I can lend you my power, and you can get stronger by harnessing it. Huh? What exactly do you mean? I'll give you a taste. You'll give me a taste? What exactly do you mean by that? Well, it's simple, really. I'll bestow to you 1/4 of my chakra. Really? Why? Well, you can test out your strength with it. And if you like it, then come here tomorrow and we can speak. I see. I accept. I want to test out this power of yours. Naruto would leave his subconscious, encased in a red glow, and about 3 tails behind his back. He would look again, and it appeared to be 2. The 9 tails would smirk. I was able to get this much chakra through. Wasn't this my lucky day? He would look once more, and then it was only 1. The seal on the 9 tails wouldn't allow him to push too much chakra through. In essence, he was trying to push as much as he could, He assumed that would be at least 1/4 of his chakra. He was gravely mistaken. 1/4 turned to 1/9. Naruto only managed to access the first tail of the Nine-Tails chakra, even with his own use of it, being his consent to use the power. With that being said, Naruto would train, now encased with the glow of the Nine-Tails, the aura and menacing chakra surrounding him. He would break multiple trees, annihilating the forest he was in completely. And then he would concentrate, pushing the chakra to certain ends of his body. He saw this as a form of chakra control training. It was then that he would try to push 80% of the chakra to his fist, and with that, he would punch a tree, punching 32 trees behind it as well. Naruto had punched 33 trees in one blow. With that, he looked at his own hands. It was as if he didn't recognize his own strength. He would smirk. In approximately 4 years, when Orochimaru plans to take me as a vessel, I will kill him. It was then that the Nine-Tails chakra would seep back into Naruto's body, slowly creeping back into each part of his body. His back, his chest, even his forehead, so to speak. Once no more chakra remained, Naruto felt a high of chakra, even though the chakra had ceased to be around him. He still kept some of the strength, and was still able to harness just a little bit of the chakra, even whilst it was put away. Naruto would smile. This was a good day. A really good day. 2 years pass. Naruto now rivals Kimimaro. Being much stronger than him, the only thing he rivals him in is being Orochimaru's vessel. And though Naruto always makes remarks about wanting to be Orochimaru's vessel over Kimimaro, it's just a lie, so to speak. All he's doing is stalling his time, making Orochimaru believe that he wants something that he wants no part of. Being Orochimaru's vessel, Naruto laughs at the idea in his head. But whilst around Kimimaro and any other person associated with Orochimaru, including Orochimaru himself, he loves the idea. He wants to be Orochimaru's vessel. With that being said, Orochimaru would leave the compound, leaving Kimimaro to watch Naruto in a way. Kimimaro was older than Naruto, and he saw it as fitting. Maybe they could bond a little whilst he was gone. Whilst in a dim-lit room together, Naruto would light a few candles, lighting up the room as he could see Kimimaro. Kimimaro had a nosebleed. Naruto had pointed out, as Kimimaro would laugh. Oh, that's nothing. Don't worry about it, okay? Naruto would laugh it off. Okay. What do you think pain is, Naruto? Pain? Why? I suppose it's just a peak of curiosity. I think that true pain is when you can't do anything to stop. Sorry, let me think a little. It's fine, take your time. It's a very complicated question. Naruto thought. Pain to me is when everybody around you hates you. When your mere existence is, well, hated. When your mere existence is despised. When your mere existence causes people to throw things at you and seek vengeance against you. Especially when it's something you can't control. I also believe that pain can be physical. Let's say I jabbed a pencil into your arm. It'd hurt, and that would be pain. When you bleed, you're usually in pain. That is my idea of pain. And what is yours, Kimimaro? My idea of pain is quite similar to yours, Naruto. Which is quite interesting. I assume when we were both young boys, we were treated with such hate. Yeah, I think that's true. You were probably treated with the same hate that I was. Yeah. A lot of people in my village feared me and my clan. Is that because of your Kekkei Genkai? Yeah, actually it is. How'd you know? Well, it looks really unique. But if it was to maybe a random civilian, it'd look a little scary. Bones protruding from your body. Kinda scary. Maybe a little more than kinda. But don't worry, Kimimaro, I don't see it as scary. I actually think it's really cool. Fine. Then from now on, you're my brother, Naruto. Huh? What do you mean I'm your brother from now on? All I said was that I'm not afraid of you, and told you about how I view pain. We share the same ideals for the most part, and you're not afraid of me. You're probably just about my best friend. I hear, over in the Cloud Village, you can become brothers by sharing either cups of wine or sometimes cups of sake. I think it's actually bowls, but what's the point? What are you getting at? Well, we can share bowls of sake. And then once we do, we can become brothers, Naruto. How does that sound? I don't really have a family, so it sounds amazing. How about it? Okay, I'll go steal some of Lord Orochimaru's. Kimimaro would quickly do so, grabbing the bottle back in grabbing the bottle for Naruto in about 15 seconds, knowing exactly where Orochimaru kept his sake and other alcoholic beverages. He would pour the sake into 2 bowls, as him and Naruto would toast to it. Drinking the sake, Naruto would cough afterwards. Oh, does it burn your throat? It will go away soon. So this isn't your first time drinking sake? Yeah, it is. I just seen Orochimaru and sometimes he drinks it. I see. Well, we are now officially siblings, Kimimaro. How does that sound? It actually sounds pretty good. I like being your sibling, Naruto. Not that it matters that much, since we're now officially brothers. And all. Naruto and Kimimaro would go to bed shortly afterwards. Some time passes, and now Naruto is 14 years old. Seeing Naruto as still another option, he turns to Kimimaro, Orochimaru that is. Naruto would watch as Kimimaro would be taken by Orochimaru. He would hear the quiet screams and groans of Orochimaru and both Kimimaro, as Kimimaro was absorbed into Orochimaru in a way. Orochimaru would come to Naruto greeting him. He would tell Naruto that Kimimaro was no longer alive, but that he lived on within him. Orochimaru would in a way bow to Naruto, thanking him for being his next up vessel. Naruto would smile. It would be my pleasure, Orochimaru. Even though he knew the man that stood in front of him wasn't Kimimaro, he still smiled, seeing his face. But that smile quickly turned to a frown, and that frown quickly turned to anger. That anger quickly grew to rage. And soon enough, it would be vengeance. Though Orochimaru did look like Kimimaro and even act like him a little, it was still Orochimaru. And Orochimaru had taken Kimimaro away from him. Quite literally taking his brother away from him. And so, Naruto was angered. He saw it as being low. The lowest of the low. To take somebody's brother from them. But then again, isn't everybody somebody's brother in a way? Let's say you've killed somebody, which at this point, Naruto has. And that person you killed is probably somebody's brother, or sister, or father, or son, cousin, or uncle, nephew, or even aunt. So, what does it matter? Naruto would slap himself on the face. It matters because he took away my brother. Orochimaru took away my brother and then smiled in my face. As if my brother wasn't gone. And for that, I will kill Orochimaru. I will make him pay for this. Naruto would swear to himself. Naruto continued his everyday life as if nothing had happened, whilst inside his anger grew day by day as he saw Orochimaru's face. Naruto and Orochimaru would spar 10 days after Orochimaru had acquired Kimimaro as a vessel. It would be there that Orochimaru would test the strength of his newfound vessel, whilst also testing the strength of Naruto. Naruto would begin by punching Orochimaru, who would dodge, slapping Naruto across the face. Naruto would quickly get up, kicking Orochimaru back a few steps. Orochimaru would do a flip into the air, as he would grab both of his hands, testing out his bone release inside of Kimimaru's body. Let's see how this works, Orochimaru would smirk to himself. With that, he would try to attack Naruto, who would dodge, kicking Orochimaru in his side, reappearing now, he would punch Orochimaru in his gut. Reappearing once more, he would punch Orochimaru in his other side. With that, he would disappear. Into the trees, he watched Orochimaru, who would look around him, sensing Naruto's chakra. He would look in Naruto's direction. Scaring Naruto, Naruto would move trees. Orochimaru's eyes followed him. Naruto would sigh. You got me. He would walk out of the forest. / trees. Well, I can sense your chakra, and you, my friend, have quite a lot of it. So, obviously, I could sense you. Don't you think I knew that, Orochimaru? 3 kunai would pierce Orochimaru's back. What? Just kidding. I knew you were gonna pull some sort of trick like that. I trained you myself. Substitution jutsu. With that, Orochimaru would reappear, stabbing one of Naruto's shadow clones. You see, Orochimaru had taught Naruto the multi-shadow clone jutsu in this timeline. And thus, Naruto knows how to create clones just as much as he did in the original timeline. With that, Naruto would mock Orochimaru. I knew what you're gonna do. Hopefully that's what you're gonna say when I beat you. Well, bring it on, young one. Naruto would rush towards Orochimaru, this time sliding under him. Another clone would follow Naruto, as another would come from the side of Orochimaru, and yet another. Orochimaru was kind of surrounded, as he would jump into the air, launching a normal fireball jutsu. All of the clones would be incinerated, except for one that would jump into the air, punching Orochimaru, which would send him down to the ground. Orochimaru would land on his feet, kicking the clone up into the air, and then sending the kunai its way. The kunai would be caught by the clone, whose hands would now be full, as Orochimaru would see this, throwing in yet another kunai. This kunai would stab the clone, puncturing its heart, which it necessarily doesn't really have one, but you know what I mean. With that being said, the clone would disrupt, or even disperse into smoke, so to speak. With that, Naruto realized that he was going to lose this fight. And so, he would have a taijutsu battle with Orochimaru. This battle would go on for about 40 minutes, as Orochimaru was surprised at how well and strong Naruto was getting. Happy that Naruto would be his next vessel, he would end the fight, bowing to Naruto. Naruto would do the same, bowing to Orochimaru. Naruto would smirk as he bowed. I can't wait to kill you, Orochimaru. With that, Orochimaru would shake Naruto's hand, as he would laugh. You've grown into quite the man, Naruto. Naruto would laugh as well, feeling a little happy at this remark. And you've grown into quite the sensei, Orochimaru. Thank you, I appreciate it. But you know what your purpose is, and I am not your sensei. You are my future vessel, and I am merely the man who will have your body once this one fails. Yes, sir. Naruto would walk off into the woods as he would continue training. Day in and day out, it was here that he would wander to the Valley of the End. Realizing he had gotten quite far away from, well, the compound/hideout, he would return, but not before looking down at a boy and another man. One had white hair. His Jonin, I guess you could say, headband was covering half of his face, whilst a mask was covering the other half. Only leaving one eye visible, Naruto wondered who the man was. Beside him stood somebody in Chunin attire. A boy, roughly around his age from the looks of it. Naruto would return as he would sleep, leaving in the morning. It was then when he returned, he saw them training at the Valley of the End. What were they doing here? Naruto thought to himself. As every single day after he finished training, he would watch them train. One day, about 2 weeks after watching them do so, Naruto would jump down in the middle of one of their training sessions. Looking at them now on the same level as he was now on the ground, and, well, they were also on the ground training, he would decide to engage them once they had been tired after a long training session. And thus he watched them train for about 4 more hours. And upon seeing them stop and even begin to rest a little, relaxing as they laid on the ground, Naruto would jump down. It was there that he stared at both of them, quiet and not making a single sound. Naruto looked at Kakashi, who was the Jonin, and then at Sasuke, who was the Chunin.
as he would smile. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and you two are? I'm Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi Hatake is my name, Kakashi would say. Sweat would trickle down Sasuke and Kakashi's faces for different reasons. Sasuke, sweat, because he was a little nervous. Naruto gave off a weird vibe that he hadn't felt from literally anyone. And he had also just finished training, so he was kind of tired. Kakashi was sweating because Naruto Uzumaki was his mentor's son. And Naruto Uzumaki had gone missing 8 years ago. Kakashi would get up. By any chance, are you from the Leaf Village, Naruto? Yeah, actually. What's it to you? Well, a boy named Naruto left the village 8 years ago. Anbu and Jonin like me have been looking for him for several years. Does that mean that you're gonna tell stupid Lord Third where I am? So you know of Lord Third, I'm guessing. Well, obviously. No, I won't tell him of this interaction. Okay. With that, I only came here to ask if you two want to spar with me. Spar? Kakashi would continue to, as Sasuke would say sure, standing up and sparring with Naruto. The fight would begin, as Naruto would begin with a kick to Sasuke's chest, which would send him flying. He would then create a shadow clone, throwing the shadow clone towards Sasuke. The shadow clone would explode, nearly right beside him, causing Sasuke to be sent flying, rolling on the ground, his body hitting stones as he rolled. Sasuke then tried to stand up as he coughed up a little blood. Naruto would rush towards Sasuke at high speeds, sending him flying into a mountain. Or what appeared to be one, at least. Kakashi would walk up to Naruto, asking all that was really necessary for a mere sparring match. Naruto would smile. You're right. I think I'm letting loose a little too much. I'll try to restrain myself from here on. Naruto would reappear.
This time, he would punch Sasuke in his gut, sending him further into the mountain. It was there that he would look back at Kakashi. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right with you in a moment. It was then that Naruto would clench his fist, creating yet another hole in the mountain. Then he would jump inside, slowly walking through the mountain until he found Sasuke's body, which was covered in blood thanks to Naruto, as well as, well, dirt and debris, rocks, stones, everywhere. Naruto would drag Sasuke's body out of the mountain, as an unconscious Sasuke would now lay in front of Kakashi and Naruto. Naruto would look down on Sasuke, as he would then look up to Kakashi. Well, Kakashi Hatake, how is Sasuke? Well, I think he's gonna be alright. He's still breathing. And what? Well, he heals pretty fast. Okay. I am extremely sorry for putting Sasuke into this situation. But. He's the one who challenged me. Now, out of curiosity, may we please spar, Kakashi? Actually, I'll pass. Oh, why? Am I not amusing enough to fight? Naruto would start to get angered. Somebody of Kakashi's prestige doesn't want to fight him. Why? Kakashi would laugh. It's not that. I've just been training all day. I'm not really in the mood to fight. Well, If I come here again tomorrow, can we spar, maybe? He would crack his knuckles. Sure. Naruto would do exactly as he said he would, returning the next day. It was then that he would swoop in and start to fight Kakashi. Kakashi came prepared for this, already setting up 3 shadow clones, which would immediately ambush Naruto, judo slamming him to the ground, one of them would, as 2 others would put kunais in his side. Naruto would grunt. Ugh. Was it really necessary to hit me with the kunais too? Slam me to the ground, why don't ya? But kunais to my sides. Naruto would pull out about 10 kunai, 5 on each side of his body. 10? Really? Isn't that a little overkill? Well, you messed me up pretty bad, didn't you, Naruto? I think 10 kunais is just well enough. All I did was slam you into a mountain. This is overkill. With that, Sasuke would laugh. Well, I think Kakashi has a few more tricks up his alley. With that being said, Kakashi Hatake would slam both of his hands into the ground. Suddenly, mud would storm the area, flowing on the ground as if it was meant to catch Naruto and wrapping around him. Naruto stood still. Looking around him, he saw that he was trapped in place by mud. An Earth-style jutsu. I see. Well, I've been training for a very long time, perfecting many jutsus as I went. I also got very, very strong. I could easily break this with my mere strength alone. But I think I'll disable the jutsu rather, breaking through it that way. Naruto would then put the hand signs together for one of his jutsus that he liked to call Tantan, Tadori, Tadori. It's pronounced a few different ways, which Naruto likes it. Sometimes he calls it Tantan, sometimes he calls it Tadori, and sometimes he calls it Tadori. With that being said, you can think of it similarly to the Chidori, but it's not the same thing. With that, lightning would protrude from Naruto's hand. The jutsu would fall apart, as Naruto was left unscathed. Well, with all those tricks of yours, I'm kind of curious. What's your plan now? Are you gonna mud me to death? Or just, maybe you should try another jutsu. Now, I suppose it's my turn to use one of my tricks. Naruto would rush towards Kakashi. This is your end, Hatake. Kakashi's eyes would widen. With that, Naruto was about to pierce Kakashi's heart. Naruto knew that in the case that he went too far, then he would be able to pull back on just the last second. But his hope was that he could see some of Kakashi's Sharingan powers. Maybe through all of the stress that he knew that Kakashi had been through in his life. Maybe Kakashi had a Mangekyo, since he does know all about the Sharingan at this point, training with Orochimaru for many, many years. With that being said, Naruto would watch as his Tadori was quite literally spilt into nothingness. It vanished. And when he looked back at Kakashi's eyes, the Mangekyo Sharingan was visible. Turning back into Kakashi's normal eye, he would push Naruto off of him. With that, Naruto would walk away. I've seen enough today. A boy with the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, while on his way to a Mangekyo if a fatal event would occur. And a sensei with the Mangekyo Sharingan, who happens to be a Chunin, and also know all 5 chakra natures. I think this little fight of ours has come to an end. His back still turned, Naruto would walk away. Kakashi would sigh. Phew. He almost did a number on me there. Luckily, your Mangekyo helped you. You're right. Good thing we've been working on the Sharingan. Or maybe I would have never unlocked it once more. You see, through training with Sasuke, Kakashi had managed to reawaken his own Mangekyo Sharingan. With that being said, Naruto would return home, continuing to train some more, further evolving his Todori. With that being said, Naruto would smile. He had just gotten out of a life or death, or as close to it, situation, which he hadn't been in a life or death situation in a very long time. So, he was thrilled. Blood rushing through his body, he had an amazing training session. It was then, in the middle of a field, and he would fall asleep, waking up inside of his mind. This wasn't the first time that he had a go in his subconscious. Well, why am I here this time? Nine Tails. Well, that man, Kakashi, I think it was his name, he had the Mangekyo Sharingan. I know what it is. Don't explain it to me. Well, I just thought that you should know that it teleported your Todori into some sort of pocket dimension. You can probably do the same thing to your head, arm, leg. You get the point. So don't mess too much with that Kakashi fellow. Thanks for the heads up, but I was actually planning to go back again tomorrow. I think that this can make me a lot stronger. It already has. I've improved. They're kind of like training partners, yet they don't realize that. Training partners who you can't do a number on. I suggest this. Every day, go there. Spar with the two of them at the same time for about an hour, and then randomly leave. Gradually increase the amount of time that you're there, so you don't get too suspicious. 1 hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour and 20 minutes. You get the point. Trust me. That's how you get stronger. Not fighting with them to the point where one of them uses some ability that allows them to transfer your own ability into some sort of pocket dimension. I don't know about you, but I'd like my Jinchuriki to keep its arm. Or should I say their arm? Because if you keep messing with that Kakashi fellow, and he probably knows how to send you to a pocket dimension entirely, that being your body, then you will be an it instead of a he. Understand? You're so concerned for me. You're starting to make me think that you actually care about my well-being. You are my Jinchuriki, a means to an end. I do care. Slightly. I'll keep it in mind. But don't be so afraid of someone. It makes me think that you're weak, and you are far from that, Kurama. You see, Naruto and the Nine Tails have had many, many interactions. And through those interactions, they've grown a bond. And Naruto's even been lucky enough to know the Nine Tails' name. That be Kurama, of course. With that being said, the next day, Naruto would do exactly as Kurama told him. Sparring with both of them at the same time for an hour, and then randomly leaving. Kakashi and Sasuke, upon, Naruto leaving, would actually remark that this was helping them grow and get a lot stronger. With that being said, this would go on for a few more months. Until one day, Naruto would show up before they had. He had been meditating, gathering chakra. He wanted to see how far he could push the both of them. He had only been able to push them both at the same time to the 2 Tomoe. He reckoned that if he could push them both to 3, and maybe even Kakashi to his Mangekyo, then he could possibly, just possibly, in some way or another, be able to see if he could take down the two of them with just his mere strength. So he would. Using the power of the Nine-Tails, he would fight them both. And it wouldn't be easy, but he would push them to the 3 Tomoe, both. On even par with them, even strength, everything. He couldn't harm one of them more than the other. It seemed like, comparatively, they were equal in strength, which meant that Naruto could kill either one of them as he pleased. But obviously he wouldn't. He wasn't some sort of menace to society, so to speak. Anyways, with that being said, Naruto would randomly leave, like he always had, as Kakashi and Sasuke would look over to each other, saying the exact same thing. Is it just me? Or is Naruto getting a lot stronger than we are from this? Kakashi would laugh. Yeah, you're right. He's getting way too strong. Like, way too strong. That wouldn't be a bad thing, but I'm really not trying to die anytime soon. He must be training, as well as doing this. It gradually makes him stronger. We've been cutting out a lot of our training since we do this, and it tires us out. But maybe that's exactly what we need to do. Even when we're tired, we need to train, so that we continue to get stronger. It only makes sense, right? I see where you're coming from. With that being said, Naruto would continue to do this for about another year, as he would hear of the Akatsuki. Orochimaru would tell them of their goal, when he would also tell them that due to the fact that Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails, he plans to kill them all. Though he knows that he can't do that. He'll take out as many members as he can, with the help of Naruto and Orochimaru's other companions. It was then that Naruto's goal switched to the Akatsuki, taking out as many of its members as he could. With that being said, Naruto managed to kill Sasori, Deidara, and nearly killed Kisame. With that being said, that means that after 1 year, which was how long it took for Naruto to do this, Gaara is never seeked out by Deidara. This time by Kisame. Being intercepted by Naruto, Naruto works together with Gaara to subdue Kisame, which is done. Naruto takes Kisame, who is then transported to Orochimaru, who experiments on Kisame, doing many tests on him, which would further Orochimaru's quote-unquote research. With that being said, Naruto would smile, and even sigh. In the past year, he had done nothing but fight, and he had managed to obtain 3 fruits from his efforts. First fruit, Sasori. Second fruit, Deidara. And third fruit, Kisame. The rewards for his training, and the rewards for his efforts. 3 Akatsuki members. Naruto knew that if he continued this pace, he could be well onto defeating the rest. His next goal was the immortal man, Kakazu. It wouldn't be until he stumbled into a random place, so to speak, that he would find Kakazu. It would be here that he would kill him, alongside Hidan. Hidan would go in a very different way. Naruto knew that he couldn't kill Hidan, and thus he would do something similar to Shikamaru, actually. Basically, he would lay a trap, almost exactly like how Shikamaru laid his trap. And then He would fight Hidan, focusing most of his efforts on him, whilst creating a shadow clone to occupy Kakuzu. He would fight Hidan in the direction of the trap, as Hidan would continue to go back from Naruto, eventually stumbling across the trap and falling right in. The trap would explode immediately, and rocks would fall all over Hidan, who would sit in that hole that he was in for, well, ever. With that being said, Naruto would also take care of Kakuzu. He had now killed 5 Akatsuki members. With that, he knew that only a few remained, and he was determined to kill them all. Through teaming up with Sasuke and Kakashi, as well as Orochimaru and the Sound, he managed to take out yet another Akatsuki member. This time, it was Konan. Pain was, or rather Nagato, was furious at this. Taking out his anger on the Leaf Village, he would destroy it. It would be then that Naruto would swoop in, saving as many people as he could. The casualty count only being 100. Why'd he save so many people? Well, for starters, the Leaf was his home. And even though the Leaf was what took him away, he couldn't help but save innocent lives. He wasn't evil, merely changed by the world that took him away, the world that spat at him, the world that threw banana peels and orange peels at him, the world that threw eggs at him, the world that stoned him. He was mad at that world, not the world where innocent people had to be killed. And so, whilst Pain stood in front of Naruto, pinned down, Naruto would look at Pain. In an alternate dimension, also, that didn't make that much sense coming out, but I will explain it in detail. In an alternate dimension, things are probably the opposite. Me pinned to the ground. I'm assuming I didn't use kunai. Or maybe I was the one pinned down to the ground, like I said. So, I'm assuming that you didn't use kunai, and instead those metal rods that you somehow use. Anyways, what a turn of events, Pain. I dealt with your 6 paths. With a lot of help, might I add. But I did it. The 6 paths of Pain have been immobilized. That makes 6 more Akatsuki members. It's better if you just count it as 1. We are a unit. Yet you are the strongest of the Pains. And what does it matter? Pain. Are you not the leader of the Akatsuki? Well, am I? Jiraiya the Gallant stood beside Naruto. Yahiko, are you not the leader of the Akatsuki? Where is Nagato and Konan? Jiraiya, I must inform you. They killed Konan not that long ago. I see. I suppose you were only trying to protect yourself. Rest in peace, Konan. Jiraiya looked at the sky briefly. Konan was his student. He cared a lot for her, even if she had went down the wrong path in life. With that being said, he would stare at Yahiko, or rather Pain. Where is Nagato? I am Nagato, Jiraiya. Huh? By the way, Jiraiya is standing beside Naruto because, well, he is in the village at this time, And, well, he's not dead at this point. Anyhow, with that being said, Naruto would continue to stare at Pain, as Jiraiya would also continue to stare at Pain, continuing to talk as well. What exactly do you mean? You look like Yahiko, not Nagito. Red hair, Rinnegan. The Rinnegan is the only thing that makes you two look similar. How do you have the Rinnegan? Jiraiya would ask this question. Pain would continue. Like I said, I am Nagito. These rods within me, they are chakra conduits. I can transfer my chakra through them, allowing me to move Pain. You did all this, why? If you're trying to change my ways, you cannot. Jiraiya would slowly take out one of the rods, as he would use his Sage Mode chakra to sense where it was, leaving to go find the location of Nagito. Naruto would follow him. Doing so, they would stumble across him. His near lifeless body, which had expended way too much chakra. It would be here that both, surprisingly, Naruto and Jiraiya would talk no jutsu Nagito. It would revive all 100 of the casualties. Nagito saw it as a small price. They had changed his ways, and so he had sacrificed his life for 100 people. He was thankful that he did so, that he had listened to Jiraiya and Naruto. And in his dying moments, he had a smile on his face, knowing that he would be reunited with Yahiko and Konan. But he would also tell them of Madara Uchiha and Zetsu. This would be good news for Naruto. He knew where the remaining two Akatsuki members were. And Pain would even tell Naruto that Madara is the true leader of the Akatsuki. That he pulls the real strings. Naruto would laugh. So you weren't the real leader after all. You were a pawn in some game. I will avenge your death. You died for 100 people today. Be thankful. Not everybody gets to say that when it comes down to it. When it comes down to what? Death. So just be thankful for what you got, Nagito. I am very, very thankful for what I got. Good. With that being said, Naruto would leave, as Jiraiya would stay and watch Nagito die, having his last words with him. It would be then that Jiraiya would actually train Naruto, seeing Naruto as a small responsibility of his. Before doing so, Naruto always kept a radio transmission device on him, so that in an emergency he could contact Orochimaru, or Orochimaru could contact him. And the device would be used as it was, well, designed to be. Orochimaru would contact Naruto. Naruto would tell him of the news that Pain, Nagito, and Konan had been killed. Orochimaru was cheerful. He could obtain the Rinnegan of all things. It would be then that Naruto, realizing Orochimaru's scheme, would take Nagito's eyes. It had seemed that Nagito still had some life in him, even though his heartbeat had slowed to a very low number. Nagito spoke. What are you going to do with these eyes that you have taken from me? I'm going to put them somewhere safe, where they can never be used. I'm going to bury them somewhere, probably. No, Naruto. Take the eyes. Huh? Take the Rinnegan. Mother is far stronger than you, even now. So take the Rinnegan so that you can stand a chance against him and kill him. Naruto, evaluating the situation, would take the eyes, placing them into his own eye sockets. He would close his eyes and reopen them. There stood the Rinnegan. He would try to disable the eyes, so to speak, as he would do so. His blue eyes now should through. I guess you could say shine through, rather. With that, he would close his eyes once more. Opening them, they were purple again. Staring at a piece of shattered glass, which he could see his reflection in, he would smile, even smirking. "Thank you, Nagato," he would say. "Thank you so very much." He would walk away, as he would continue to train with Jiraiya. It would be here that he would learn Sage Mode. Doing so in a timely fashion, he knew that he had to take on Madara soon. Because Madara had taken his own, I guess you could say, he had taken the tailed beast into his own hands, taking out many of the Jinchuriki. This was a problem to Naruto. He is a Jinchuriki. And since Madara had taken out most of him, he needed to save himself, as well as the rest of the Jinchuriki, who he somewhat cared about since they were similar in ways. The Jinchurikis that he had taken, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 tails. Meaning that he had taken about 5 to 6 of the tailed beast. He also had 9 tails chakra. Through convincing Kabuto and Orochimaru to reanimate Ginkaku and Kinkaku. I say convince, he merely forced them. Before leaving and seeing Orochimaru as useless, so to speak. Until he realized that he could do the same thing with the rest, reviving the previous Jinchurikis and taking their chakra. With that, the Geto statue was complete, and the 10 tails would be revived. Brought down on the earth, a war would ensue. The Ninja Alliance versus the 10 tails and Madara. The Ninja Alliance would deal with the 10 tails, Naruto with Madara, who would really just be Obito. Naruto would fight Obito, as he couldn't touch him. This became a very big problem. Obito could do almost anything to Naruto, while Naruto couldn't touch Obito at all. But Orochimaru was in this war, and so was Minato, which meant that Naruto could touch Madara, disguised as Obito. With that, he would attack Obito with everything he had. Punches, kicks, palms. Tadori's left and right. Grabs, slams, throws. Jabs. Everything. Headbutts even. Until both him and Obito were beaten beyond compare. Or even repair. And it was there that they entered each other's minds. Inside of each other's minds, Obito would show Naruto what he experienced in his mortal life. The suffering, the pain, the happiness that was stripped away from him. Witnessing his own best friend ripping a Chidori into the love of his life's heart. Watching from afar. Being manipulated by Madara. All of these things. Or, I should say, by the real Madara. They pushed Obito to do the things that he did in life. And Naruto now understood that. Naruto would ask Obito if he wanted him to put an end to his life. Obito would smile. I did everything that Madara asked of me. And until now, I hadn't even realized that I did the wrong thing. That I was on the rotten side. At this point, Obito has already had his fight with Kakashi. And has also talked it out with Minato. You see, this is it. So I do want you to take my life, Naruto. Naruto and Obito would exit his mind. As Naruto would take Obito's life, Obito would smile, dying in Minato's arms, and having a final conversation with him. I know I disappointed you, Sensei. I'm so sorry. No, Obito. Yes, it may be true you took many lives, but you were being manipulated by the real Madara. If anything, I was only proud of you. Obito would die. With that being said, this would put an end to the war, as Naruto would quickly dispatch of Zetsu. Itachi remains alive, as Itachi and Sasuke would have a closing, so to speak. And Sasuke would even get Tsunade to heal Itachi, who would now be left alive. Going through many traumatic things in the war, seeing so many people around him die, Sasuke managed to unlock the Mangekyo. Itachi would trade his own Mangekyo with Sasuke's, living out his life as a blind man, which he was totally content with. He even had one kid, named Kano, and a loving wife. His wife's name was Vivi. He had an amazing life, so to speak. With that being said, into Boruto. This is territory that I didn't really want to cross into. I kind of just wanted to end it off with Naruto, but since I've already mentioned it, why not go into it? Boruto is not a thing. Naruto, actually, as distressing as it really does sound, he never finds true love. He meets many girls in his life, but he never truly settles down. And takes up his dream job as Hokage. Eventually, that is. And he serves his village, never having children or even a wife to come home to every day. And so he surrounded himself by work. Having the same ideologies as Tobirama, he didn't see the Hokage position as being a position to be sat in the office or anything of that sort. Rather, he spent his days in neighboring villages or on the battlefield. With that being said, this has been What If Naruto Left the Leaf, the movie. I suppose in the end, he came back to the Leaf Village. Destiny brought him there and he went. Indra and Ashura were fated to clash, and they never did in this timeline. They had clashed many times and had resolved their beef, I suppose you could call it. I struggle to find a word. Anyways, with that being said, this has been What If Naruto Left the Leaf. I hope you all enjoyed What If Naruto Left the Leaf, the movie, and yeah. This has been Rami X. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be deeply appreciated. And Rami X